lineup, half a lineup, three-quarter, whatever. You just run into some teams that are checking well, or the puck's not going your way, or goaltending. So you need that foundation, and I think that's what I'm proud of, is our defensive foundation hasn't wavered just because we're having a little – now, we've won some of those games, but we're having a little – it's not going in as easily. So good for the guys. Defense usually leads to good offense. We know that. We've seen it. We've lived it. And you got to hang in there sometimes. The goals might come later. They might come early. It seemed like earlier in the year they're coming early. Now they're coming late. Thursday they didn't come at all. So like you're going to go through different things. And Minnesota's a very good defensive team. The Rangers are fighting to get themselves back in it, and they go into they played the game against Jersey. They played good D, so we knew they would be tighter. So that's where we're at right now. And we'll take that show on the road, hopefully, where we check well and stay with it kind of every period or shift after shift, the same mindset. And you always believe there's enough offense in the room. I believe that. Jack's kind of a late illness scratch, and we have lots of guys there who can still bring it offensively. Stoney missed time. Carly at the start. Barbie's been out. He was our leading goal scorer till tonight, right? So there's enough. There's enough in there if we can check well.
What is it about this organization that they're able to develop guys who are able to step into roles like you have Brett Howden having a career year. Keegan Kolesar gets double digits for the first time tonight. Your leading goal scorer is a guy who's playing his first full season in the NHL. Why are you guys able to put guys in a position where they succeed in stepping into more prominent roles?
All coaching. Just seeing if everyone's paying attention. Ashley's not. She's on her phone. Listen, they've identified talent here from day one. Way ahead of the curve, right? The original selection process allowed them to be very good right away. So they've done it from day one. So that's George and Kelly and their staff found players. I see the pro scouts sometimes when they're here. They're out there grinding every day, looking for that player that they could be a good fit. There's always conversations along the way. Where do you see your team going? At least when I'm here. Before that, I assume they have the same conversations. What do you feel you could use to whatever? And then the amateur guys, well, they're the glue, right? They're always out there. Now, some of those guys got traded over the years to add, but still, you have to have a valued asset, like an Edstrom, say. He was a good pick, and Edstrom, I think I'm saying his name right, but it turns into hurdle for us, and et cetera. So guys get moved, so you can acquire these, the talent. So at the end of the day, Calgary, they like Miro Manoff a lot. Now they got a pick too, but it turns into Hanif. So you have to have identified those guys first, and then come up through the system, and then it's on to us, and we've got to do our part with them. And that's what's kind of happened if you're talking about Howie and Coley, right? They were parts of other organizations. And most of them are just because of the way Vegas came into the league. But since then, Pav is not. He's homegrown. You take Hag and Whitecloud, they're homegrown. So there's enough of them here, and there'll be more and more as the organization gets on in years. But good for the amateur and the pro guys for identifying not only the talent, but are they a Golden Knight fit, right? Sometimes there's certain fits, and what's your identity? How do you want to play? And then finding those guys. So they've done a good job. I think the messaging's been good from the top, and what they're looking for, and they've gone out and when they've been able to do it, they've done it, and that's credit to the Crim too for going to get the deal done, right? It's not as easy as it looks. You don't just phone someone up and say, hey, you know what I mean? There's a lot of moving parts, I believe. I'm a coach, not a GM, but been around long enough to know that it's not that easy.
Go Danny, then Jack.
Hey Bruce, Danny Webster, Las Vegas Review-Journal. It looked like you switched Pavel with Olofsson going into the 5-on-3. What was the reasoning behind it? Obviously, it ended up working, but what was the reason you...
Gut instinct. Pav's a shooter. He's played that position when Olofsson was out. So to me, they're very interchangeable. So I just felt like, let's give Pav a shot. Our power play's been good, not great, and maybe some guys that were on it before that top unit will be a little hungrier, and they'll I don't know. That's all it was, and he happened to finish. So good for him. He can finish, and I'm sure we'll toggle back and forth as we go along here. But right now, it worked out well for us.
Hey, Bruce, Jack Williams, Las Vegas Sun. You talked a little bit last night about guys trying to find their offense, and I think Pavel was one of the names that you mentioned there. With Jack out today, unavailable, was there a little bit of a sense of, with Pavel, this is an opportunity to fill kind of a gap a little bit more and, really springboard your game?
Yeah, I mean, he can score, and he will. I've said it before. I think sometimes wingers can be streaky. Is the puck finding, is it not? They don't see it as much as maybe centermen or can't activate like D. So at the end of the day, he's kept working, done a good job. Was the only message after the first period is, we need some people now to be hungrier to score. I know everyone wants to score. It's not that they're professionals. Of course they want to score, but it dried up here a little bit at home. Let's not let it bleed into this whole game this afternoon. Let's put a little extra effort into it. It's January. It's a long year. There's only, you know what I mean? You push buttons, but at the end of the day, I just felt like Minnesota's in the same schedule as us. It's their fourth game in 6 days. They're missing players. Like, let's not let them off the hook. Let's force them to defend and make their goalie make saves and let's push a little harder. We're capable of it and see where it leads us. And it led us to 2 points and 4 goals. So good for the guys. Pav's one of those guys. I thought Hurdle really stepped up too as the game went on. That line was good. They 5-on-5 and they did some good things in the power play.
Paul, Allen, Dom.
Hey Bruce, Paul De Los Santos, NHL.com. How big was Keegan Kolesar's goal, given the way it was scored, given your offensive slump here in the past 2 games?
Good point. Good question. It was huge for us. We felt that when you're not scoring, sometimes you're trying to make an extra pass or whatever. You're hitting posts and how about a greasy one, right? And couldn't have been any greasier. Keep a puck alive on one side, scrum it around. Zach makes a good skill play up top, but Keegan finds ice and gets it from the top of the crease. So good for Keegan, and that's the type of goal they're going to score. Especially with Nick and Howie or Pierce, whoever's over there, they're going to get those types of goals where you're hard to handle down low. That's the part of the ozone play that we need to keep harping on to get those goals, tips, deflections, second chances. I thought we did a better job against the Rangers as it went along, not good enough against the Islanders. So good. Let's take that on the road too, that mentality that we're going to get pucks to the net. We don't always need the extra pass, especially with big bodies. We are a big group of forwards, so make the other team defend you. And you know what? That might get us in the power play a little more, that mentality, because you start taking penalties in the scoring area, and that's something we need to do better. We got to draw more penalties, find a way to do that, and that's certainly one way we can do it. And we should get rewarded with goals because we got skilled guys that are big.
Allen.
Bruce, a quick two-parter. Number one, how do you foresee using Hurdle? Because I think I just wonder if you can expand on your point today about the Hurdle line really asserting itself as the game went on, along with Dorofeyev. Do you see that threesome being kept together? And the second part is, do you have any fun Fleury stories just to kind of leave us with?
I don't have Fleury stories because I was not here when he was there, so I've never coached him. The most fun story I can tell you is I ran into him in a bathroom in the airport where we're both taking care of business. That's it. And hey, how are you? It was probably the middle of July, and he was on his way to a wedding, I believe. So that's it. Sorry. As for what's that?
He didn't try any
Nothing. There was no gags. I don't think he probably thought about it. Says, well, I don't really know this guy. I don't want to. The old toilet paper in the back pocket trick as you walk out, Did you guys know that one by any chance? No, it's one of those old ones. Anyway, another time. The Hurdle line, that can't, a little bit. Jack's out. What are we going to do in the middle of the ice? Hurdle's played left wing and center. Part of it is, now Thomas has been with us now, like playing in our system for a while, so maybe it is time he goes back into the middle, ask him to drive a line, see how his wingers fit. And we may be at that point. Nick Waugh comes back in, right? So there's a little bit, does that build our 4 lines to how we envision it coming out of training camp? So there's a little bit of the personnel that's available to us has driven Thomas, to be moved around a bit. So my guess is we'll go into Nashville and have to reevaluate because I don't think Jack is long-term. It's an illness. It's probably one of those quick ones that he'll be fine. I don't know that to be a fact, but my guess is he'll be back in, so we'll have to revisit it again. But I like what they did, so certainly not thinking about going away from it, but we'll see what we have.
Last one, Dom.
Hey, Bruce, in the back, Dominic Lavoie, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Going back to Keegan Kolesar for a moment. First time hitting 10 goals. Nick Watt said he looked good in day one in camp. Just what have you seen from Keegan this year that's allowed him to produce the way he's been producing?
I think his pace is excellent, been excellent since day one. People don't give him enough credit for how good of a skater he is, so he can separate, get to the net, and get to the good ice. I think he's more confident handling pucks down low. You see much more puck possession, especially against man-to-man teams. He'll be able to hang on to it. He's been in an elevated role offensively simply because of, again, personnel injuries this year. So probably get more opportunities to see pucks off the rush for goal scoring opportunities as opposed to forechecking ones. So, and I just think, again, we've talked about this. People leave, guys look around the room. Hey, maybe there's an opportunity for me to grow my role, and he's done a great job with it. He still brought physicality. Obviously, toughness. You know, he fought one of the tougher guys in the league tonight, sort of, you know, because of that, the hit on probably their young player that didn't look great. I honestly think Keegan was trying to hold up a little bit, but anyway, he answered the bell. So there's still that part of the game he continues to bring. That's what you always worry about, right? A guy starts scoring, it's like, is he going to forget his roots a little bit and his identity and et cetera? So he hasn't. He knows he's a straight line player. He knows he's physical. He knows he's a great teammate. We're building in penalty kill, and he's getting some offensive opportunity. Actually, almost got a shorty tonight too at Stoney's play there. So happy for Keegan. He's probably one of the most well-liked guy. Well, they all are, but he's a very popular guy in the room, and so everyone's happy to see him have success.